All right, everyone. Welcome to week number 3, my weekly video wrap up. So this week we're going to talk about some building on what we spoke about in the last couple of weeks. But before we do that, we've got some announcements. We've got Cormac's Kids Comp is on this Saturday. Bex just had her first Twilight Throwdown prep. You can still get in with that if you guys want to sign up for that. Still jump in with that. And come this Saturday and the following Saturdays after that. And the last thing, we're still raising our items and collecting our items for Turning Point in Camden. So got a good amount of stuff at CFN. We've got some at Oran Park too. So keep bringing that stuff in. We'll be collecting it till about the 10th of December. So I have to take that into them by the 13th of December. So I'll post about that more in the coming weeks. Now, today we're going to talk about, we spoke about the definition of CrossFit and the definition of fitness. Now we're going to talk about how CrossFit came to the definition of fitness and how they figured out what the definition of fitness should be. So they have these 4 things called the 4 theoretical models of fitness. So CrossFit have come up with 4 different ways to evaluate your fitness, and they progress them over time to come to their final definition. All right. So the first one that they started to use was created by the guys that own Dynamax medicine balls. So we actually have those at Oran Park, and it's called the 10 general physical skills. So there are 10 general physical skills, and if you have any deficiencies in any of those 10, that's going to show a level of weakness. So what you want to do with that in mind is you're going to go through those 10 things. So you've got cardiovascular endurance, you've got stamina, you've got flexibility, you've got strength. They're the first 4. They can be changed through training, meaning to get stronger, you're going to do 5x5 back squats, etc., etc. Then you've got the 2 in the middle, which are power and speed. So they get better through training and practice. And then the last 4 of the general physical skills are coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. And those 4 get better through practice. So any of those 10 skills that you struggle at, so say you're great with strength and you struggle with cardiovascular fitness, it's telling you that you should focus on your cardiovascular fitness. Just making sure this microphone's still working, we're still good. And then if you struggle with flexibility, you probably need to stretch a little more, right? You want to try and be strong in all of those 10 general physical skills. With that in mind, CrossFit progressed to what they called the Hopper model, and this is where a lot of early misconceptions about CrossFit started. The Hopper model explains that if you put all of these physical tasks within a barrel, you spin it around, and then you pull a task out. That thing that you do that with is called a hopper. If you pull out a 5K row, a CrossFitter is going to do well in relation to the rest of the general population in a 5K row or a 5K run or a 1 rep max back squat. And I kind of talked about this last week when I talked about the definition of fitness, meaning I talked about how if you have a powerlifter, a gymnast, a CrossFitter, and a runner, and you give them all these fitness tests, whoever comes out on top is going to be the CrossFit, is going to be the fittest, and that's 99% of the time going to be the CrossFitter. Now, the reason why there was misconceptions regarding this model of fitness is people thought that's how CrossFit was programmed. It was just a random ball picked out of a carnival thing. But that's not the case at all. CrossFit explained that was a way to test your fitness. Once CrossFit came around to that definition, they then moved on to the metabolic pathways model. So that's the third of the 4 theoretical models of fitness. So the metabolic pathways model is more about traditional fitness training when you have your 3 metabolic pathways, and they talk about different durations of exercise. So you've got short, medium, long exercise. So your first metabolic pathway is the ATP pathway. So adenosine triphosphate, and that's going to be short, really intense exercise. So that's going to be less than, say, 20 seconds long. The second metabolic pathway is the anaerobic pathway. Anaerobic means without oxygen, and that's going to be in that up to 2-minute range. So anything over the ATP range into the anaerobic range, up to that 2 minutes, when you can, it turns into an aerobic exercise, and that's the third of the 3 metabolic pathways. So aerobic exercise. So you've got ATP, anaerobic, and aerobic. Now, we want to be as good at ATP as we are at aerobic. So that's going to tell you that if you struggle with shorter workouts and you're great at longer workouts, you should probably do more shorter workouts. Pretty simple one. The final one, and my favorite, because it is the best way to improve your fitness as a average CrossFitter that's not trying to go to the CrossFit Games. And this is what most of you guys should be thinking about. This is what I think about all the time. The 4th fitness model is called the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. And what it talks about is that every fitness measure that you have and health measure that you have has a measure that is sick, has a measure that is well, and has a measure that is fit. So what that means is there's a blood pressure measurement that is sick. So it might be 180 over 120. There's a blood pressure measurement that is well. It might be 125 over 85. And there's a blood pressure measurement that is fit. It might be 110 over 70. All right. So you're going to be somewhere on that curve from sick to fit. And that can be the case for any different number of measures. So that's going to be like body fat percentage. It's going to be muscle mass. It's going to be, give me some, Gus, throw some at me. He's right behind the camera here. It's going to be triglycerides. It's going to be bone density. All of these things can be measured with a sick value, a well value, and a fit value. And what it explains to us is that fitness and health are the same thing, which I explained the other week. Health is just work capacity across broad time, modal, and age domains. And what it means is that if we are on the fit side of things, so we have a fit blood pressure, we have a fit body fat percentage, we have a fit level of muscle mass, we have a fit level of triglycerides, all that sort of stuff, if we're all on that way to fitness, that means we have a hedge against sickness. Because to go all the way to sickness from fitness, we're going to have to pass through wellness first. And that means that, say it takes you 2 years to get to the level of fitness that you're at, it's probably going to take you the same amount of time to become pathologically sick. So we have a protection against sickness. That's why I like the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum the most. As usual, if you guys have any questions, just comment them down below. I hope that made sense and I didn't ramble too much. Gus, what'd you give me out of 10?
8.
8 out of 10. I'll take that from Gus because he's a hard judge. That's basically a 100 out of 10 from anyone else. Thanks for watching.